Yo, what up? It's your boy Bowie back at it again. And, this time I want to talk about Mortal Kombat in the NRS community and how we address toxicity in and beyond our community. Okay? So, where's this video coming from? Well, a fighting game player by the name of Chris G went on Twitter and replied to an absolute legend in the NRS scene, a Foxy Grandpa, when a Foxy Grandpa talked about how people outside the NRS community be talking greasy about NRS games, but the only reason they do it is because though they think our game is scrubby, or our games, plural, are scrubby and are easy to play, they can't readily come in and get this easy scrub money if they're supposed to be so great at fighting games. You know what I'm saying? You can tell I'm sort of biased because I agree with that take, But Chris G replies, and basically he sits there and trashes not only NRS games, he called them not fun and our own players don't want to play them, but then he proceeded to call the NRS community toxic, citing online shenanigans such as teabagging, doing ones and dones, quitting with quitalities, stalling in the player select screen, yada yada yada. Basically, none of which that actually has to do with the actual offline tournament scene of players. And of course, the two of them got into a back and forth, and it involved other members of the NRS community. They all pretty much said, nah, bruh, you tripping, for the most part. And, I don't know if it's ongoing at this point. But the point of this video is not to make a retort to Chris G's fuck ass. Because for one, any man that works up the nerve to go on a fucking racist diatribe against black gamer girls is not only a suck ass man, he's also a motherfucker that has rejection issues. You know what I'm saying? He can't handle that a black girl turned him down when he tried to get at her, and so now he want to sit there and be bitter towards all of them. And then B, I'm not wasting a whole video on his monkey ass. Hell nah, he's not worth a whole video. But it did get me to thinking. What kind of toxicity is present in our NRS scene, in these games? Who's the perpetrators? In what circumstances does it happen? Why does it happen? And most importantly, what, if anything, can be done to mitigate it? You see? So, I got to thinking. So who are the people that are doing the online toxic stuff? Well, it's the online players, obviously. I myself am one of them and have been since the days of MK9 all the way back in 2011. And, I've done my fair share of teabagging, one and dones when the matches get stupid laggy, which I should have put into practice, but, that kind of thing. Seldom anything really toxic I certainly don't get on the mic and, you know, be yelling hate speech and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Or give people hate mail and none of that kind of thing. Though I do reply, and I have some epic clapbacks, you know, to the hate mail I used to get back in the days, you dig? But the online players are the ones that are doing this. Now, sometimes it's tournament players that get frustrated, but more often than not, it's them goddamn casuals. Them casual players that like Chris G don't know how to take a loss. You know, they don't understand one fundamental thing about fighting games, and that is you will lose games, matches, and even sets. It's like skating. If you try skating, your ass gon' fall. That's just part of learning how to skate. You gotta accept that before you get into it. And I'm talking about rollerblading, but the same thing applies to, you know, skateboarding or anything like that. You know, so long as you try some, you know, you're gonna fail in this life. But the key is to not be defeated. The key is to try to learn. Now, as it pertains to fighting games, sometimes the failure is not purely yours. Sometimes the match literally is laggy as shit. And things that are normally deathly unsafe on block are somehow unpunished. You know what I'm saying? Things of that nature, you know. And so in situations like that, you need to learn to let that shit roll off your back, bruh. You know? I'm talking to anybody that might be a casual player right now, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna lose matches, bruh. It's not a big deal. It's not a reflection of your skill. Well, maybe sometimes it is, but it's not a reflection of whether you should play the games or not. Like, just because you lose a lot doesn't mean that you just suck as a person and you just don't need to be playing anymore. Like, no. Sometimes the losses mean you need to adopt something or you need to stop doing something. You know, and the sooner that you learn that and learn how to take losses graciously and gracefully, the better off you'll be. Now, some people will never learn that even if I explain it to them, and that's their business. And that's what causes, well, I ain't gonna say that's what causes, but those are the kind of people that wind up being chronically toxic in the community. So we now know who is doing it. Under what circumstances? Do we even need to bother trying to, you know, figure out why people do what they do? It's kind of tough to do that, I would say. Hold on a quick second. I just had a thought. Oh, it's recording. Okay, I just wanted to make sure, you know what I'm saying? Just wanted to make sure you did. Yeah. But anyway, I just had an intrusive thought, you know what I'm saying? Just trying to make sure the shit actually recorded, you know what I'm saying? Actually, second intrusive thought. Hold on. Want to make sure that's actually in frame. Oh, it is in frame. Okay, cool. My bad. Yeah, so anyway, I just want to make sure shit was alright, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, why do people do what they do? Lord knows. Mostly, if I had to put myself in the mind of a casual, it's mostly out of frustration. You know, when you really pester your opponent, it brings out, you know, the inner child and not the, you know, fanciful, you know, innocent, exuberant inner child. I'm talking about that inner child that has a damn tantrum, you dig? And that's what this toxic behavior is. It's a tantrum, you know. It's a tantrum for teenage to grown men. You know what I'm saying? That's what it mostly boils down to. Now, what causes them to throw these tantrums? Well, you doing anything that annoys them. Maybe you're zoning too much. Maybe you're rushing them down too much, not letting them breathe. Maybe they can't hit you like this guy's struggling to do. Maybe you're blocking too much. Maybe you're not letting them play the way that they want to play. Every time they jump, they get anti-aired. I was trying to time it to see. Anti-aired. You see? I was trying to time it to see if I, you know. But anyway, so, anything that frustrates a motherfucker in a match is going to be something that will cause them to throw these tantrums and therefore, you know, be toxic online. You know, and I'll get to a more pertinent reason in a moment, because the real reason, well, one of the real reasons, you know, is something that is purely NRS's fault and can be addressed immediately, and I'll get into that in a minute. But, you know, so we know who's doing it. We kind of know what triggers it. You know what I'm saying? And we even know the circumstances under which it gets triggered. You know. Now, why does this happen? Well, there's a myriad of reasons as to why it happens. For one, Mortal Kombat is the most popular and well-known fighting game franchise in the world, according to sales numbers. You know, at least in the US. Matter of fact, no, worldwide. I saw a graph where Mortal Kombat and Super Smash Brothers were like the #1 and #2 fighting game franchises, and every other fighting game franchise was like mad far behind. Street Fighter, Tekken, Dragon Ball, you know, all of them mad far behind. Now, some of that is, you know, because of the length of time that Mortal Kombat has been out. You know, MK's been out for over 30 years at this point, so that's a long time. However, Super Smash Brothers has been out for 20 years, because the first one came out in 99. Matter of fact, it's been over 20 years. God damn it. It's been 24 years. Shit. Wow. Anyway, so Smash Brothers has been out for almost 25 years, and for them to be like really close to MK is an impressive feat. Street Fighter been out for longer than that. And the fact that they're behind Smash Brothers is, you know what I'm saying? Not trying to judge any other fighting game franchises, but I'll say this. A hell of a lot more people know who Scorpion is than know who Ryu is. You know. Fighting game players know Ryu and Ken, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, you know what I'm saying? Heihachi and Jin, you know what I'm saying? Fighting game players know them motherfuckers. But regular gamers know Scorpion and Sub-Zero, and Raiden and Kung Lao and Liu Kang and Kitana, Melina, Jade, you know. And then regular people that don't play video games know Get Over Here and the dude with the hat and Scorpion. That's what they know in terms of fighting games. They can't name but maybe 2 Street Fighter characters, maybe, on average. And they can't name nobody from Tekken. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk. And so this means that our games, Mortal Kombat, have the widest swath of online players. People that, you know, range the entire gamut. People that, you know, have played all the Mortal Kombat titles. People that, you know, this Mortal Kombat is their very first MK ever. People that don't even normally play Mortal Kombat, but they just play video games. And then people that just bought the joint for their son or their daughter or what have you, and they just played, you know, they're playing online. You got the whole gamut of children, or not just children, people, grown people, children, teenagers, all that shit, you know, that play these games. And that's not something you see, you know, as much for those other fighting game titles, except Smash Brothers. Okay? So that plays a large role in this. So we have way more casuals than everybody. That's part of it. But one of the other reasons that I believe this happens, that we see online acts of toxicity, is this. For some perverse reason, NRS has these goddamn win-loss ratios, win-loss records, and win odds. Matter of fact, hold on. I'm gonna go past this, because these were the sets I lost anyway, because this dude was laggy as shit. But I do want to, hold on. I want to, no, yeah, oh, no, my bad. No, fuck that shit. Sorry, I'm doing all this, messing up people's, I just want to see this shit right here. Hold on. This shit right here. This is the problem. That's the fucking problem right there. Y'all see that? These are casual matches. There are no stakes involved. I don't get any costumes. He doesn't get any costumes. There's no rewards for doing these matches at all, other than the coins that you get at the end of each match. Yet for some perverse reason, I can see his win-loss ratio. He can see my win-loss ratio. And the game goes even further and has win odds. I have a 59% chance of beating him. He has a 41% chance of beating me. This right here, and I hope y'all can see my mouse, this shit here is the cause of so much of the toxicity online. Because here's the thing. Everybody that has ever played these games, unless you're like a tournament pro person, you absolutely use this to determine whether you're going to fight somebody or not. Or you use this, probably both. You see somebody that has a 99% chance of beating you, you don't play them. It's that simple. Because the game done basically told you can't win this fucking match. So why would you try? You know what I'm saying? And everybody is absolutely discriminated against people that have numbers that are too big here. You know what I'm saying? Or if this number here is like massive and that one's tiny, they not going to play that person, even if this person has been padding their record. What people don't understand is these wins and these losses don't mean a goddamn thing, really. Not only do they not mean anything because these are casual matches, but you don't know who the hell these people are playing to get these records here. You know what I'm saying? For all I know, even though his win-loss ratio is worse than mine, he might be playing the likes of Sonic Fox, Ninja Killer, Samij, Rewind, all these top players, actual top NRS players, and a Foxy Grandpa, he could be playing them kind of dudes, and they could be the reason why his win-loss ratio looks like that. Meanwhile, if I'm playing Joe Schmo or Joe Blow or whomever, and Takashi69XXX, if I'm beating a bunch of people like that, padding my record, this person's actually got a way better chance of beating me than the other way around, even though the records don't look the same, you see? So that is what is causing this. That is what is causing people to act a motherfucking fool online. Because people feel like they gotta protect these records. People see these wins and losses and they think the shit matters. Now, even right here, I just discriminated. I damn sure did. Now, I also look at this. This shit, when this number's too high, I don't even do it. I don't even care. I probably could have beat this person, but if this said 79, I would have fought him. But since it said 179, I said, hell nah. Plus, he's playing from Brazil. Fuck no. Anyway. But as I was saying, people feel like they got to protect these wins and these losses. They can't take too many losses because that's going to hurt their record. Having a nice record is nice to look at. It puts you in a state of mind. Now you're not even worried about trying to learn matchups and stuff like that. You worried about this record you're trying to protect. It's a lot like having the frame rate counter on the screen when you're playing a game. Instead of you enjoying the goddamn game, see, let me explain that for those of you that don't play PC. So anyway, on PC, you can look at what's known as a game's FPS, not first-person shooters, but frames per second. And what happens is every fighting game typically runs at 60 frames per second. So every second that passes, there are 60 still images, which are known as frames, that animate, right? Now, PC is cool because it can run games at higher frame rates than what can be ran on a console. So for instance, if you play, you might recognize it here. The menus on the PC version of this game run at 60 FPS. If you play the same game on PS5 or PS4 or Xbox or something like that, they run at 30. So the FPS is higher on PC. And you can see it in the intros, everything's smooth and fast and shit. But anyway, when the FPS counter is on the screen, instead of you enjoying the goddamn game, having a good old time, what you doing? You looking at them FPSs. You trying to see, ooh, I'm getting 60. Oh, now it's 74. Oh, now it's 83. Oh, no, now it done dropped to 32. Oh, blah, 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 blah. You sitting there looking at the corner of the goddamn screen instead of what's happening on the whole rest of the screen. And so I imagine that to the casual player, these win-loss ratios have the same effect. Instead of you focusing on getting better, instead of you focusing on developing good habits, punishing unsafe moves, yada, 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 you worried about fighting as many easy opponents as you can because you don't want to deal with people like me that'll make you do this. You see what I'm saying? Now, this could happen anyway. Sometimes you get matched up with somebody that's way above your skill level or what have you, and you quit. You ain't gonna stop people from quitting. No way, no how, you know what I'm saying? But what happens is these win-loss ratios cause people to act a fool. when their win-loss ratio is in jeopardy, for starters, they won't even play somebody that'll jeopardize their record. If your numbers are too high, you'll just get passed over straight up and down. And if your numbers are extra low, then everyone will try to fight you. That's why you see people making Smurf accounts and shit. But then if you do get a match with somebody and they're worried about padding their record, they ain't gonna play you that many games and mess up that record. Ain't no way. You ain't gonna get no sets because they're worried about some goddamn arbitrary numbers that don't mean anything, combined with the fact that people already don't want to take losses anyway because people don't like losing. You know, losing feels twice as bad as winning feels good, that kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? It just creates a situation where the ingredients of toxicity are just a brewing below the surface in the subconscious and shit, you know what I'm saying? And so that's something that NRS can address immediately, you know. And one of the things that made me recognize this was when I played the Mortal Kombat X online beta for the GGPO. One of the first things I noticed was that everybody's record was 0-0. And it didn't matter how many games you played, the record still stayed at 0-0. And a remarkable thing happened. You know what happened? I got more games. People played matches with me constantly because they weren't worried about a win-loss record. There was no win-loss record. Go figure. Casual matches are exactly what they say in the name. Casual. They're just matches for fun. Matches to learn, grind matchups, you know, practice combos, practice anti-airing, practice different techniques with no fucking stakes. You know what I'm saying? And NRS absolutely needs to make casual matches truly casual, meaning remove the win odds percentage, remove the win-loss record from casual gameplay. Do not even show it to either the player or the opponents, cause it doesn't goddamn matter. The only time the win-loss record should even be visible or shown is in ranked. And even then, it don't matter because you get automatically matched up with people anyway. And if you decline, it adds to your losses. So
you are under arrest, dirtbag.
There's not really much of a reason to show it there either, but you know, hey, if you want to show off that you have 10,000 victories in ranked, there you go. But I think that's one of the hugest reasons that people act toxic online. Because, you know, fighting games are already stressful enough. Because what happens is when you lose 9 times out of 10, it's on you. It's not that the game cheated you. It's that your opponent was likely better than you. And they outplayed you in those matches. And so dealing with that pain by itself is already stressful. Not to mention the capers and all this stuff having to do with online play, you know. Playing in 177 milliseconds of ping and shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, all that is stressful enough. Plus you got these characters that people don't like fighting against and shit, you know, all that stuff. And then on top of that, you got people feeling pressured to protect some arbitrary numbers that don't actually mean anything and don't reward them with shit. that needs to just be removed.
You are under arrest.
It's one less thing for these players, these casual, mostly casual players, to worry about. They need to go. They need to fucking go. That would help out so much. It really would. Also, some people, and this is much less frequent, I don't know, but some people become toxic when they fight somebody whose connection is way worse than advertised. You know, y'all know what I'm talking about when you play in Combat League and it says that the ping is 100 milliseconds, but then when you get in the match, that shit hops up to 200 milliseconds and the match is juddery and stuttery and shit like that. Bruh. That shit definitely makes me toxic. It makes me much more likely to fatality people, makes me much more likely to brutality people. You know, I get really salty about shit like that. And I suspect I am not the only one. And so, NRS, what you can do is instead of you showing win-loss records and win odds, you need to show not only connection type, the ping, but you need to show the quality of the connection. And you need to let us filter for quality. Okay? I've said this in past videos, but I'm going to say it again. We need to know what kind of internet connection we are dealing with from the other player. And there's ways to measure the shit. Like, you can just use the ping, really. You know, you can arbitrarily decide that pings within a certain range qualify as excellent. You know, others within another range are good. Some are average. And then others, you know, can be bad, right? But then what you do is you look at the fluctuation of the ping. Like right now, this is pretty stable. The ping has been a steady 180, you know, low 180s, high 170s. So this is a stable fucking match. You know what I'm saying? So we can have some ratings: stable, nominal, unstable. Nominal is there's some fluctuation here and there, but for the most part is good. You can also have, you know, a nominal could be, or you could have bad is where you have wild fluctuations, you know, wild jumps and changes in the ping and shit like that. And then also there needs to be a warning for connections that feel slow, because it's weird. There are some 180 some odd millisecond connections. They feel fantastic. I barely even feel the ping from some people. But then others, bruh. That shit is moving in slow motion, bruh. People are doing fake ass pressure that don't really exist. Because you just can't react, you can't move, you can't block on time. The game don't even function the same. And there needs to be some sort of account of that too. That is the only information that should be showing in casual matches. Connection information. You know what I'm saying? Nothing else is relevant, because anything else you could show, all that's going to do is potentially lead to people not playing matches against each other, or people being toxic in matches. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. As I think about it, obviously the meta of the game and some of the game's mechanics can obviously also contribute to toxicity for sure. But given the fact that you have so many games with so many different metas and all that, and they all have toxic behavior, it doesn't really matter what, how the game plays all that much. And as bad as people think the NRS community is, that Smash community, that Call of Duty community, that FIFA, that NBA 2K community, bruh, we have it real good in the FGC, especially in the NRS FGC. I've met quite a few people. I've talked to people from across the globe. I've had an hours-long conversation from a guy from Argentina. And we even went to practice mode together, and, I taught him some Scorpion stuff. And in that lab session, I learned a new combo. That's how toxic the NRS community is online. So toxic that you can meet some really cool people and, make lifelong friends off a goddamn video game. Go figure. I met so many people playing MKX, MK9, and MK11. That's how toxic the NRS community is. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, my experience is not everybody's experience. And I don't mean to sit there and imply that my experience is the definitive experience, that everyone that plays this game will meet cool people and stuff like that. You kind of also not have to be an asshole. That helps. And, honestly, I actually get more fun out of teaching people how to play than I do fighting them. Like this person here, I would much rather take him in the lab and be like, hey, bruh, I see that you use Sub-Zero. I see that you use Scorpion. I play both of those characters. Let me show you what you should be doing. And I watch them do it and watch them improve their gameplay. Not necessarily against me, but against other people. Like, I like that. That shit is dope. You know what I'm saying? Passing on knowledge, to me, is far more satisfying than beating somebody in a submission that is clearly learning how to play. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I would rather do. And I'm probably not the only one. I'm not the only one that would do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but this is what I'm getting at. My whole thing is, if this community is so goddamn toxic and so bad, how can people have so many experiences like this? And I'm not even a pro. I'm not a tournament player. I have a career. I mean, I would go to tournaments and play for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't ruling them shits out, but I'm just saying, like, this is not something that I do on a regular basis or any kind of basis. And if I've had great experiences online, I know I'm not the only one. So, really, in terms of what we can do about the toxicity, I mean, there's things that can be done to mitigate it. Most of it is on NRS, really. Like I said, NRS could really cut down on the goddamn toxicity by not having win-loss ratios be visible to people. Like, they just shouldn't even see it. There's no reason for casual matches to have any kind of pressure to them by showing people that they've lost 500 times and only won 100 times. Like, that's not necessary. All that does is add extra anxiety and add a layer of concern that doesn't need to be there. You know? So, yeah, that's one thing NRS can do, for sure. Also, NRS needs to, like I said, do a better job of giving people very pertinent information about the kind of connections that they're going to be playing in. Ooh, yes. Whew, that was a juicy ass punish. I love that shit. Love that shit. Don't love that shit, though. Ping so high I couldn't hit my goddamn combo that I can hit all the time. Anyway. But yeah, we need to know the connection type, the ping, the quality of the connection, and the speed. I'm gonna have both of them, quality and speed, because sometimes you have a fast ass 100 millisecond ping. You know, the matches feel damn near like offline with some people, you know. Like with my boy Wallace. I play him and it don't even matter what our connection speed actually is. It pretty much feels like offline. You know, as close to offline as we can get. And we ain't in the same state at all, so, you know what I'm saying? I've played matches with him in 100 some odd millisecond connections before, and, you know, it's great. Meanwhile, with other people in that same connection ping or whatever, it don't feel as fast at all. You can't barely react. It's jittery, not stable. But that kind of information needs to be visible right there in the front of the menu. You know, right where the win odds and all that shit used to be. And we need a filter. Like, people that are playing on Wi-Fi in Combat League absolutely need to be filtered the fuck out. People with highly unstable ass connections need to be filtered the fuck out. Not to say you don't let them play, but I'm saying we should all be able to decline them people. You get straight mad declines. Decline. Why? Because you won't buy a goddamn Ethernet cable. Too bad. Tough titties. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, because you don't even have to be buying Ethernet cables. You know, if you get a piece of technology like a laptop or something like that, a lot of times them shits come with it. Or if you get a new cable package, they'll give you extra Ethernet cables. Ain't no excuse. Or if you work in an office or school, you can find some extra Ethernet cables that you don't have to buy. So ain't no goddamn excuse, bruh. Them fools need to be filtered out. Because if everyone was having better matches in which, you know, all you had to do was just play, and even if you lost 50 games in a row, it didn't goddamn matter because it didn't hurt your record because there was no record, I think that would lead to less stress overall and much less toxicity. Not that it would stop fuck niggas like Chris G from complaining, but hey. You know, it's just a thought. It's just a thought. But with that being said, yo, I'm out this motherfucker. One.